right, we are back at the U.S. National Astro Weather Center, and I am your Astro Weatherman, Robert Phoenix. How's everybody today? Let me get buttoned up here. I got a backup pair of glasses. Number 3 today, but they should be suitable. You know, I was thinking of this song. It's actually an album called Alive on Arrival. And I was just thinking about being alive when the show starts. Wouldn't that be a bummer if all of a sudden I hit play, right, go live, and between the time I did that and went live, I just was not responsive. Like that would be odd, don't you think? That would be one of the oddest streams, I think, of all time. It might go down in the Guinness Book of Records. I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking about being alive on arrival, and it was an album by this guy named Steve Forte, who was he might have been originally from North Carolina or something like that. I don't know. He had that kind of country look about him, and it was a good debut album. He was living in the village, right, or somewhere where hip people live in New York. And he was kind of part of this sort of, you know, Marshall Crenshaw kind of scene. Anyway, he goes on to become Cyndi Lauper's boyfriend. And he's in that video, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And it's almost kind of like the last you see of Steve Forte. Right, he comes on. I think he's from North Carolina. He comes on. He's this really promising artist, has a really good debut record. Gets in, becomes Cyndi Lauper's boyfriend. Shows up in the video. I think he has one album or two after that, and he's done. It's like he peaked in the Cyndi Lauper video. Anyway, here we go. Let's see what we got here. KK, the California Contrarian. We got BB. This is up and available. We do our best here. We do our best to be alive on arrival. DJ MC, what's going on, Brother Mike? Brother Mike, greetings. May the Lord bless your day, Brother Mike. Kabuki Theater, what's up, Bo? Privacy anti-scam. So search for Dollar Dad Bryce Weiner. Why is there always a Wiener, Weiner, Weinstein, Weingold, Weinberg? Why the wine? Why the wine? Bryce is living in California, is soon to recover his old computer from storage. All right. The Bitcoin he burned on the computer is worth over 100 billion at today's prices. Basically, the story is that he experienced a real life taking movie. It's a true story. It's incredible. I've known him in crypto for years. I'm homeless, and I really believe this will turn my $20 into much more than. Well, I hope. Privacy anti-scum. Look, I hope this story turns out the way you want. I don't care if you don't get involved. Just want time to prove I was right. Since I was really like Chattaria, I'm going to be able to say I didn't mention it. You're on the record, brother. Of all the links I left in this chat, I don't delete links. Sometimes there's an algorithm on YouTube that deletes them. I have nothing to do with that. My girlfriend is coming from Boulder, so you won't be in chat this morning. Remember when Cliff High told us to buy Bitcoin at $10 and again $100? That's what this is currently. Well, all right. Okay. Well, we're looking forward to your absolute utter success and abundance in a world where something manifests from almost nothing, and then becomes another something on the other side. Does that make sense? Sigurd, what's happening? Dolphins were a monkey that didn't like the land. Oh man, I'm a huge Ian Brown fan. I dosed on that song for a long time. Also, he does a song called, is it Neptune, Great God Neptune. Ian Brown's a Pisces. He's a 0 degrees. You want to hear a good Pisces story? Like how a person's sign just really aligns with like an event in their life. So Rob Lowe was recently on Joe Rogan. Rob Lowe is actually a really interesting guy. I like Rob Lowe. Anyway, he's Rob Lowe is not only a Pisces, in human design, he's a manifester. So he's a very interesting personality. And one of the things that I noticed in terms of his interactivity with Rogan is that it was almost as if he was interviewing Rogan at times. And it wasn't because he was trying to take control of the conversation. It was just how he engaged with him. It was like, yeah, man, let's talk about that. What do you think of that? Like, it wasn't just a kind of a one-way beacon towards Rob Lowe. It was really interesting. Anyway, so he talks about the first day he shows up in Los Angeles. I think they lived in Ohio or someplace like that. And he's moving to LA. I don't know if it's for him to become an actor or it's a byproduct of his family or whatever. But the first day that they're at the Santa Monica Pier. And they are shooting an episode, and it's The Man from Atlantis with Patrick Duffy. And he plays this this dude he's kind of like the Submariner or Aquaman. You know, he's got those vibes, right? Underwater, talks to animals, swims like a dolphin. And this is the first place that Rob Lowe shows up at, is at the Pier of Santa Monica, because they're doing a stunt where Patrick Duffy or his double, whoever, dives off the Santa Monica Pier and is, I guess, in chase of something, who knows what. So all the movie crews there, the TV crew, the lights, and so they're just driving by and they stop to see what's happening. And Rob Lowe is like genuinely excited because The Man from Atlantis is his favorite TV show. And I thought, well, it's interesting. You got a guy who's like, you know, Aquaman, Submariner, very Piscean. And where does Rob Lowe wind up? Right at the edge of the Pacific Ocean, watching this thing happen. And I think he's also like really fascinated with Atlantis. It's an interesting interview. I like Rob Lowe. He's got some crazy stories about Patrick Swayze. Anyway, love Ian Brown. The Bisou. What about the octopus? Unlike anything earthly, alien, I love octopus. I am a big fan of the octopus. They're fascinating. Really fascinating. We have to have octopus month, though. Maybe we can squeeze that in Scorpio. I think Scorpio could handle a little octopusy. That's what I think. I have to say, I also really enjoy eating octopus. So I like it both ways. I like it as a sentient being, and also the tentacles can be quite delicious. Let's see. Okay, bye to Visu. Kelly B. What's up, Kelly B? Jackie Delario. She's our shining light, our beacon of light, our lighthouse from New Jersey. Mary Grethler's here. Hi, Mary. Janine is here. Catherine Rosen, thank you. I am actually feeling somewhat better today. Well, if I'm being completely honest, I'm feeling remarkably better than how I felt a week ago. Man, I wonder if it was like one of these new China viruses. I seem to get those things before anybody else does. Like if there's something new and weird and novel, I get it. And then I'm done with it. And then I watch everybody else get it. What's wrong with you people? It didn't happen to me. Well, actually it did, but it happened much sooner. Misbehaving too. What's going on? Privacy and peace come. I'm still here. No word yet from my girlfriend driving here. Go telepathic. Go telepathic. Travel down the highway of your mind where there are no restrictions. There is no distance. There is no time. And your girlfriend is already there. That's where you need to be. Occupy the highway of your mind because you're in every place at all times in the highway of your mind. Hi, Das. Hi, Das. Good to see you. David Dewar. What's up? What's up, David? Stephanie Hunter. Howdy to all you beautiful humans. The beautiful humans can use a little hug every now and then too. New Outlander spinoff. Uh-oh. Ladies, get your what is A&E or something? Get your A&E schedule. Blood of my blood. The blood of my blood. Who would have thought that the blood of my blood wasn't really my blood at all, but it was the blood of another. Diane Evans. Hi, Diane. Let's see. There's an Outlander peeps here. Sharon Lewis. Hi, Sharon. Big Dave Sullivan. What's it, Dave? Gillian Hart Rosie. Working a few extra shifts. Getting that overtime. Orlando, I have my coffee for you. Lisa Ann White, what's going on, Lisa? Maria d'Orange, checking in from Europa. There she is, the lovely and talented one. Dr. Jonas. Stephen the Piscetarian. There's Tom. Greetings, Tom. New West. What's up, New West? Meow meow. My landlord is trying to evict me, even though I had a payment plan in place. She never credited money. I paid my account. Well, that sucks. Usually they have, it all depends on what city you live in. Some cities are like bulldogs. And they'll have your renter's rights, like nobody's business. So if there's it just depends on where you live. If you live in a blue city and there's like a rent board or some kind of rent advocacy NGO, go find them. Go find them. They'll make that person feel pain. However, if there isn't, I'm not sure what else to tell you. Maybe find somebody with an Italian last name. Ask them if they know somebody. Elsbeth Heron, with Janice Phillips is here. Liddy Lewis here. Thor by the door. It is Thor's day. He's here too. We got a rainbows and butterflies sighting. Mary Mags. What's up, Mary? Yes. For all of you who would like to purchase a cup of coffee, which is the equivalent of like a super chat. That's right there. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Sun Tzu, how am I feeling? Well, if we're getting granular around Robert's health, last night was a kind of a remarkable breakthrough because I was able to finally get some sleep. That's been the biggest hang up with everything. And the lack of sleep has done a number on like my internal organs. So last night was a major like shift in sleep work. It's really difficult for me to shift my circadian rhythms. And a lot of it, is based on the fact that it's, once I get the semblance of my physical body back and I can start powering on some writing, the whole idea was to put a pause on 15 minutes of flame so I can get some writing done. And that's the truth. But one of the things that people don't understand, and maybe some of you do because I've mentioned it here before, that when you do constant shows, right, you have to, like a show like this, using astrology and the wheel, and it works, right? Like there's already kind of pre-made content that I can build on, extrapolate on, whatever, right? But a show like 15 Minutes of Flame, where I'm talking for 90 minutes, most of it extemporaneously, right? Not very little of it is planned out. The subject matter that goes into it can at times be labor intensive, and it's not always the same. Like sometimes I'll find a topic and I'll just bang on that topic for like 3 days straight, and we'll go as deep as we can for those 3 days. And then there are other times where it's like, okay, what am I going to talk about? What's relevant? Like I just don't like to just read the news, And so there are times where I'm up till 12:30, 1:30 in the morning trying to find relevant content so I can piece together my brain and give you a show that's got some a beginning, a middle, and an end, and has some interesting things along the way. So when you do a show like that, and I'm a one-man band. Like a lot of these people have producers. Like Jason Whitlock has producers, and they'll find him content, and they'll find him all this other stuff. And Jason sits back, and he has, he does his own little meanderings. But when you're a one-man band, you just have to, continue to mind your own content world. And sometimes how that happens is very mercurial. I'm just letting you know. So if you string together too many late nights where you're trying to pile as much together for a show as possible, it ultimately has a deleterious effect on your health for one second. And that's kind of what happened, right? I was like really pushing the candle on both ends. And at a certain point, my body just said, stop. If you're going to do anything productive with writing, you're going to need the time. And that was really the impetus. And then after that, that's when everything hit me. And I got this weird bug that started, I'd say like last Friday, and then was just flattened for 72 hours. And then after that, all these other weird symptoms started to come up. So I don't want to bore you with all my medical bullshit, but that's kind of what happened. And readjusting the whole circadian rhythm thing is going to be tricky. Because last night, my goal was get to bed by 11 p.m., which I believe I did. So if I can get to bed by 10 or 11, I think I can, kind of reset the internal clock, and that'll be helpful for all my other internal organs as well. So thank you for asking. I appreciate that. We got Neil Smith. What's up, Neil? Tom, thank you for liking and subscribing and putting that up there. Misty, love the sign. Oh, thanks, Misty. We've had this around here for a while. Miss BC, go to attorney immediately. I agree with this. Also, look up rent boards, rent advocacy. If your town is even purple and you have one of these, you will thank me. Let's see. Susan, it's my baby sister's birthday. She's 40 something. Well, happy birthday, baby sister 40 something. Looks like we got Lynn sighting here. What's up, Lynn? Does the law of nature the best medicine for you this time? Couldn't agree more. Lana Winkler's here. Christina Jersey, what's up, CJ? Laura E. Steve Forbert, born in Meridian, Mississippi, 1954. Yeah, he had that country boy vibe, didn't he? He like shows up in New York. He's wearing some floods, blue jeans. It's like, where did this guy come? Alive on Arrival is a good record, but he got lost. I don't know if New York was the best place for him. I think LA might have been better for Steve. Mark Guess, he's from the road. He's with us. Let's see. This isn't a Bitcoin show. Let's see. That's funny. Let's see. Nice slide. What's up, Nice Slide? Leanne On is here. There you go. Connect sunspots to planets. Me V. Great morning to all. Wishes of peaceful minds and strong. I love that. All right, we got some Mercury retrograde going on with Lisa Ann White. Meeting with my landlord tomorrow to talk about the dead washer dryer, which she says was replaced a few years ago. I've been here 10 years, and the repairman looked at it and said it was made in 2002. There's always a little tag on there. Find the tag, it'll show you when it's been made. Your landlord has coasted for 23 years with the same washer dryer. It's time. It's time. Esperanza, what's up? Dead Wolf Resistance. I'm just getting started. All right. He's on the hunt for Somalis they've somehow managed to lose touch with Minneapolis, and they've sort of wandered over into his part of the world. So if you're a Somali, I would keep my eye out for Dead Wolf Resistance 13. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Jack Rabbit Slim was a C format album, I remember. It was the second one. Good name for an album, I thought. Yeah, I think he did okay. He didn't sophomore slump it, but I think it was like the curse of Cyndi Lauper. That's what I think. Carol Moore. Hey, Carol. Desiree Conrad. Hope you're having a good day. Please say a prayer for me to whoever you pray to. Lupus is kicking my ass. I've had an acceptance. Hard month. Well, let's put that right up there. Desiree. All right. Well, from all of our hearts and minds that are connected to the well-being and suffering and the love and the redemption and the pure light of hope and peace, that we all affirm and decree that is your birthright. We affirm and decree that it is so. And from this point forward, the lupus will find another place to live as the light, sound, and vibration gently push it out of your system. We give thanks for that. You're welcome, Privacy Annie Scott. No worries, man. We're a good group here. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe is very interesting. Are you kidding me? Pisces manifester. Self-awareness. Look, Rob Lowe won the fucking gene pool lottery, right? Rob Lowe, Brad Pitt, gene pool lottery. Sean Penn, on the other hand, not so much. Here for the Astro Smoke, baby. We're going to bring it. Great conversation. Well, that was good, right? Really good conversation. Rob Lowe was not good on The West Wing. I didn't watch it, so I didn't know. He was great in that movie where he played James Spader's roommate. Oh boy, that was evil Rob. Very evil Rob Lowe. Let's see. Oh, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Is that it? That movie came. Oh, he was in a sex tape with them? I don't think he was in Sex, Lies, and Videotape. But maybe it's a different movie, different sex tape. I tried, but could never swim like Patrick Duffy. He worked with a special dolphin training crew at SeaWorld every day, right? They taught him how to do that. So unless you work with the special dolphin training crew, it's going to be very hard, I think. Very, very hard. Let's see. Anybody else? Are we caught up? Should I start talking some astrology? I guess that's why we're here, huh? Let's see, Scrubbies is here. Hey, Tamara. Good to see you. Let's see. I think we're up to speed. Oh, hi, Sunlight. Thank you. Integrity Karma. Buddy, I'm coffee. Let's go. All right, she's finished her coffee. Yes, the one-man band. The cats are the generators. Grant, what's happening? Diminishing returns. Sometimes less is more. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that. Absolutely. 100. Okay. If I missed you, Olivia Provor, sleep deprived here. Glad you got some sleep. And Cosmic Detective. Let's get going. We could do this all day. And I would absolutely enjoy the heck out of it. All right. We're talking Astro Weather with Robert Phoenix. Okay, there we go. Give me a ticket for an airplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days ago, I'm a coming home. My baby, she wrote me about. You know, Alex Chilton was fucking 16 years old when he wrote that song. That's amazing. That's like Mozart. All right. The Naked Sun. the naked sun. Today's one of those days where you might feel just a little exposed. A little exposed. But that's okay. We're coming into, guess what? Full moon territory. Look at that right there. We got the moon moving into Aquarius. Now that really poses an interesting dynamic, doesn't it? You know who I was looking at? Some of this might be lost on most of you, but it might hit a few of you. So there's this guy, Klay Thompson, who used to play for the Warriors. And Klay was one of the greatest shooters of all time before he got hurt. And he's got a very unusual chart. He's an Aquarius. And he has all these planets in Capricorn behind his sun. And Klay, if I'm not mistaken, is also born on an eclipse. And he has a full moon in Aquarius, right? So he winds up, and it's kind of weird too, because he's always like in the shadow of Steph Curry and Draymond Green. He's kind of always in their shadow. And actually, I think he's better than Draymond Green, but that's a different story. So he gets traded to Dallas. And a few months ago, he hooks up with Megan Thee Stallion. So I'm like, well, gee, I wonder what their charts look like. Let me tell you, these two crazy kids have found each other. They're both Aquarians. Their sun signs are separated by 2 or 3 degrees. They both have Leo moons, right? So they're both born on full moons. They're both Aquarian. Like, they get each other. They totally, and it's like weird. Like, why do I care about, a rapper and a basketball player who no longer plays for the Golden State Warriors? From an astrological perspective, you could just see that instant bonding. Sun, sun, moon, moon. And what's interesting about something that she said, and she comes from Houston, right? And a bit of a hard area. And so the guys she's going to be involved with are going to be all, all tough and shit, and grab the crotch, and you know what I'm saying? Right? Clay's not like that. Like, Clay grew up in a 2-parent household. His mother is Caucasian, and his father, Michael, is, I believe, from the Bahamas. So his father is Bahamian and light skinned. And Michael played football. Michael was a really good basketball player, played at the University of Minnesota. And so that's Clay's dad. So if you looked at Clay, Clay kind of ostensibly looks Caucasian, right? If you really, really look, he could pass a little bit, right? But he's got 2 parents. And Megan Thee Stallion, I'm sure the guys that she's dated, whatever that means, probably missing that crucial element of the other parent. And one of the things she said about Clay, if you've ever seen interviews with her, or I'm not a fan of her music or anything, but she comes off as being really hard and tough. Like, she's so hard and tough. She's taken on like a male name, the Stallion, right? And then all of a sudden she's saying, oh my God, I've never met a man like Clay before. He's so kind. He's so nice. He's so sweet. And I don't think he's really trying. I think when you lock in on that sun moon, conjunction that they share together, it's like just 2 people sort of relaxing and unfolding with one another. And the thing about an Aquarian moon, like, if you have a partner with an Aquarian moon, and you kind of understand each other. Like, not everybody will ultimately understand how your moon operates, but if you're with another person, you kind of get it, right? There's this kind of unspoken love language between two people in an Aquarian moon, and that they can be friendly, quirky, they can let other sides of themselves out with each other that normally other people don't see. They also have the ability to give each other space. And I think importantly, they find emotional connection through bonding as friends, like doing things socially, being out with groups, plays for the Dallas Mavericks. That's a team. That's a group. And I guarantee you, there'll be some Megan Thee Stallion crossovers this year, even though Houston might not like it very much. But we're in that opposition today. We've got the moon is in the oppositional space. It's not quite completely full, but boy, she's getting there. And there's a conjunction with Pluto taking place right now. It's a weird conjunction because again, the moon in Aquarius wants to be more detached, kind of more observational, a bit more voyeuristic, less willing to engage in conflict. But that Pluto won't leave it alone, right? It's like, oh no, you don't get off that easy. You don't get off that easy. Like there's something here with this Moon Pluto conjunction. Now, here's how I'm going to read it. I'm going to read this as the best of times and worst of times. And that we're just talking about today. Okay, we'll just talk about today. Today, you will either encounter stories personally or through the interwebs of people who are practicing some form of transcendent kindness, right? Kind of like the stories you would read where, like if somebody was drowning, and I think this happened to Tom Cruise. Like Tom Cruise, it's a weird story about Tom Cruise. No, this is different. This is a story that somebody else told me. This is a true story, and it was about a guy who was on the California coast and kind of, on this bluff, slightly overlooking this beach. And he saw somebody drowning. And so took off his clothes or whatever, raced out there, swam out there, and brought this person back. Okay. And I do think Tom Cruise did say something, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, a year later to the day, the guy went back to the same beach and was looking at the same spot, and somebody started drowning again. This is a true story. And he wound up saving them again. Right. And I'm like, dude, don't go to that beach. Like 2 times is enough. But the reason I bring it up is because there's something that humans have had that will trigger us, and we may not even know the person who is in peril or danger. And in the past, we all just would have or most of us would have just gone there and done it, right? Like this person, in that moment, it's like that person's a part of my family, even though they don't really know them or know what's going on or what happened, but they just see somebody in peril. And this is something that psychologists have studied over the years, and wanting to know why humans will do that, to sacrifice themselves for people that they don't know. It's an interesting phenomenon for being human. I would say that capacity of humans is diminished. And the reason why is because most people would be too busy holding up a cell phone watching somebody drown. Right? It's like this thing that's connected us as a as a family at an unspoken level, right? Like we go in to that situation. That could be our son, our daughter, our mother, whomever, but they're not. It's just somebody random who happens to be in peril. And people have consistently over the years put their lives at risk to save that person. And to me, I mean, that's very Aquarian, number one. But there has been hours and hours and hours of kind of psychological deconstruction as to why humans will do that, why they will sacrifice their own life for the life of another person that they don't even know. And there's some interesting theories around it. But what I'm trying to get at today is that if we look at, let's say, those instances where somebody would rush into a building or jump into an ocean or go into somebody's car, whatever that is, right? Let's go like pre 2000. We were wired differently. We didn't have this intermediary device. I mean, there were cell phones around, don't get me wrong, but you could call somebody, but you couldn't make a TikTok video out of it, right? So the technology has altered our behavior, and I'm sure you'll still find somebody who would drop their cell phone and go rescue a random human. But I think the numbers are less. Most people would be more interested in getting clicks and views than actually saving somebody. And so to me, this is a clear sign of how deep social engineering has gone and how the threads for human existence have been frayed. And we've become something different, something more kind of callous and indifferent at times. Well, this Pluto Moon conjunction, even though it's in the breezy and not so attached sign of Aquarius, there's some intensity to it, right? There is some intensity. When I think about this, when I think about the Moon Pluto conjunction, I think about Gaza. I think about like the starvation that's happening there. I'm thinking about the supplies getting looted on the way in. To me, those are very Aquarian issues, right? Like the one thing that's been a bit challenging, and look, I can go either way. Like if you want to just hang out with people of your own religion, race, color, I don't really care, right? If that's how you want to choose to live your life and who you feel comfortable around, I really don't care, right? Do it. There shouldn't be anybody telling you not to. And so that's kind of like, one version of, an individual's quest to experience itself amongst other individuals who reflect their values, reflect their religion, reflect even somebody's health. Look, I don't have a problem. On the other hand, we've also gotten to this point where and this is a hard one to represent, because when you really think about it, when you really take into account how many different groups of people live in this world and where they are, like intellectually, where they are spiritually, I mean, just like you have to take in a lot. And then you have to wrap yourself around this idea. Well, we're all part of the family of man, right? We're all created in God's image in one way, shape, or form. God's pretty eclectic, let me tell you. That is the part that we have been missing. Whether you believe that or not, that's the part that we've been missing. And what we've had is this synthetic and forced sort of bundling and co-optation of people that are artificially dropped into a diverse environment, right? And it's just like, oh, here, let's get these people and these people and these people and these people. We'll just dump them there, and they may have something in common. Like they may have Islam in common, but they don't have this in common or that in common. And then we'll just throw them into a place like Western Europe. And oh, by the way, hug your brothers and sisters in Christ, right? Like that's forced. And in the beginning, that's what people were doing, right? That's what people were doing. They were hugging it out. And then because of the intensity and the density, what we're seeing is a lot of violence and a lot of trauma. So it makes it much more difficult to say, oh yeah, we're the family of man. We're connected at a deeper level, right? You may walk around here looking for a 7 or 8 or 13-year-old girl to groom and rape, but you know, in the Lord's eye, we're still part of the same family. Like in a weird way, that is true, but in another way, because these cultural adaptations and all these other things that come into play, like it's also a very difficult place to get to, right? So to me, this is this Moon Pluto conjunction in Aquarius, and it's so intense. It's like, well, you have to feel this way. You know, you have to embrace this. You have to be a part of this. If you're not a part of it, well, you know, it's the usual canards. You're racist, or you're a bigot, or you're privileged. And there's pushback today. There is pushback today with this Sun in Leo, you know, in this oppositional mode. So it's going to be a very interesting 2 days. It almost feels like there's a jockeying for populism too. You know, like watching Trump operate is really interesting. Trump is not a populist. He is in the sense that he kind of talks like a man of the people. There are times where he can relate to some of the activities, but Trump is not a populist. Trump is an internationalist, globalist, banking and finance entity under himself and the people that are around him, right? And I've been thinking about what is Trump really, what is he really trying to do, right? And this gets into the astrology. Is he making all these deals with BlackRock and you know, Scott Bessent and all these dudes, Larry Ellison, Sam? You know, there are people you don't even know of that Trump's doing deals with. Like, is he doing all of those deals so that he can somehow pump money into the American economy? And I don't think Trump relates at all to people who pay mortgages, have to do their own grocery shopping. I don't think Trump has set foot in a grocery store unless it was on a campaign trail. Like, I feel like he's, in some ways, he's really, really out of touch with just the average person. And so when I think about, okay, is he trying to reform a new kind of populist base? I don't really, maybe ideologically, but I don't think so. I mean, I think ultimately what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to create, whether or not he's going to be able to do so, create a nation of many Donald Trumps. That's what I think he's attempting to do. Like, I don't think he's really that invested in Main Street at all. But if you see yourself like Alex from what was that show? I never watched it. It was with Michael J. Fox. He played like this little capitalist creep, right? But he'd be fine with that. Trump would be fine with a nation of more Trumps, because ultimately that's what he relates to. That's his world. Those are the people he does business with. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you make a case that based on everything that he's doing, which a lot of which I'm not in favor of, but based on everything he's doing, is his goal to raise people up to the level of Trumpdom? Is that what he's trying to do? Right? Like, now he's decking out the White House and all, like, he didn't do this before with all this gold shit. Like, what are people? I guarantee you, there are people, because when I watched the Republican convention, sorry, I'm sure they're nice people, but there were these dumbass people that were wearing bandages on their ears in solidarity with Trump. I guarantee you, people are going to start to convert their living rooms or gold. You're going to see this whole gold theme start to really pop up, right? Oh, President Trump has those. I saw them on his mantle. What are they doing here at Walmart or Home Depot? They do something at Home Depot. But I can see this. I can see the introduction of gold coming. Keep your eye on this, right? Watch what people wear. You know, Trump is going for the full gold tie effect now. He is promoting Golden Age America. And so this is what I'm talking about, right? Instead of reaching down to the people and understanding the people's plight and, you know, their struggles with mainstream business, Trump wants to go Wall Street and just Wall Street this whole thing with whatever kind of new, like, crypto models or stable, whatever they choose, right? Like, that's where it's all going. So the idea is, why would you want to live on a piece of land and be a prepper when you could have a nice little gold apartment just like mine, right? And I think that's where his head is at. So let's see how well this social engineering is going to work. This full moon is really interesting. It feels scandalous. It feels very, very scandalous. You know, that Pluto is still conjunct Jeffrey Epstein's son. I don't think we're done with the Epstein material at all. It's a weird day, right? It's a day that's both hot and cold, but cold hot, right? Because when you put Pluto and the moon together, it's kind of hot. But when it's Aquarius, it's kind of cold at the same time. So these are very interesting dynamics today. I wouldn't be surprised if people just talk shit, just to talk shit and see what other people do. Just kind of lob it out there. That's when this day has that vibe as well. And we're in that grand trine now, Mars, Uranus. Here's where Mars gets interesting, right? We're now in Libra, opposing Neptune, opposing Saturn. This would be, but it's harmonic, right? At least this is This part is harmonic, the grand trine. The opposition, not so harmonic. And Mars in Libra is looking. It's just looking for a cause. It's just looking for a cause. The social justice warriors are sharpening their picket signs. We do have that Mars-Venus square, which we're still attached to, right? And they're so different. Mars and Libra is just super mental. You could rationalize just about anything in relationship with Mars and Libra. You've ever been in a relationship with somebody that's Mars and Libra? They like to process. They like to talk about the relationship. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, every relationship needs to be addressed, but it's like they really need to. It's almost before they can sort anything else out, right? They've got to get things off their chest, or whatever. That's fine. But it's very different. Venus in Cancer is much more sensitive, getting closer to Jupiter. So that's a bit scratchy. Yeah, I would say be on the lookout over the next week around conflicts and getting into clinches with people. Mars and Libra can bruise, seriously. Hypocrisy, it's right out there. What is Mars and Libra going to do with this Neptune-Saturn opposition? That is going to be fascinating as the day goes on. Absolutely fascinating. Somebody's caught with their pants down. Somebody is caught with their pants down. Somebody is like just busted. Liar. I do think you can make some really interesting changes on this full moon. And the full moon isn't usually a time where you initiate change. But with Pluto there, I think it's an interesting component. Very interesting component. It's like what you focus on becomes prevalent in part of your life. That's the nature of Pluto. So if you're like me and you want good health, better health, then the Moon Pluto conjunction, you don't want to get too obsessed about it, but you want to take action because that's Mars and Libra. Right? Kichi's losing her mind. She's found this black squirrel who could not give a shit about her, and she's like, I gotta go to school. All right, let's do our True Hemp Science third day. Okay. Our True Hemp Science star of the day. Is probably somebody you're not all that familiar with. And who did I choose him over? I forget. His name is Chet Forte. Before I talk about Chet, let's talk True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. And as noted, it was voted #1 in Austin for the CBD shop experience. So it's not just the product, but it's the shop, it's the people in there, it's the vibe, it's the whole deal. Well, you get to bring that to wherever you are in the continental US. Go to truehempscience.com, check out their products. We've got a plethora of them. Spend $100 or more, and you will get a free goodie bag if you type in 15MINS upon your checkout. So you're going to get more with your order. Okay. You can always make a appointment to talk to Chris or whoever. Figure out what suits you, what works for you. And it's a 360 deal. You support him, he supports you, right? He supports me. Inadvertently, you're supporting me. It's the circle of life. Okay, Chet Forte is one of the most important people in 20th century broadcasting. So it's Chet Forte's idea to bring football to Monday night on ABC. And he's coming up at a time where now Chet was an athlete. He played, I think, college football and some other sports. So he comes from an athletic background. But he also moves into television production for sports. And the big three at the time were Chet Forte, Roone Arledge, and Don Ohlmeyer. And it's between the three of them where they completely change the landscape of sports television, including the coverage of the Olympics. Because for a long time, ABC, which is where Chet started out, had the Olympics as part of their package. And their Olympic coverage was always epic. Didn't matter where they were broadcasting from, but it was always top notch. And the thing with Forte is you can see that he's got Saturn up here in the ninth house. And that's a culminating planet for him, right? He really becomes sort of the de facto. I mean, I suppose you could, I don't know, there's some other people that come along with it later that might have the same clout as Forte, but he's the guy that puts everything on the map. So if you go down to his fifth house, he's got Mars, Moon, Jupiter, all in Scorpio. What is the fifth house? It's hobbies, it's pastimes, it's the things that we find pleasure in, right? And what is he doing? He's taking all these elements and then moving it to Saturn, where he becomes executive producer, executive director. I believe at one point in time, he's the head of ABC Sports. Like this guy changes media, right? He changes sports media as we know it. Now, some of you might go, wow, what the fuck? Why do you need sports? Well, if you watch the Olympics, you'll like whatever you believe about 1972 in Munich. Chet Forte was directing that whole thing, like the coverage, not the event, but the coverage of it, and having to do it in real time. Like that was not an easy thing to do, right? And then Wide World of Sports. Everybody watched Wide World of Sports, fine. So Forte is the guy who lays the track for better or worse. Right? There's no ESPN without Chet Forte. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But if you go to his second house, what will you find? You'll find the planets that would be associated with his fifth house, Mercury, Sun, right? All in Leo. And this is the material values. The house of material values. So what did he value? He valued things like sports and pastimes and athletics. And with Pallas here, he kind of had a glimpse into the future, right? He had a glimpse as to where this would all be going. You know, you go back and watch like a lot of those Muhammad Ali fights, and you have Howard Cosell. Those were all on ABC. So while the other two networks would have the Super Bowl or they would have some championship, ABC had carved out this very unique niche with sports. And getting that Monday night contract was pretty important for them. But you can see like how, and I would say that Forte had to fight for a lot of what he wanted to get across to the executive heads, and because this is not easy. Like he's having to prove himself, I think, over and over again with budgets And would people really want to watch this? Right? Like, this is the guy that comes up with the TV show, The Superstores, where they have all these guys from all these different backgrounds and they're competing in all these events against. That's a Chet Forte thing. So this is a lot of heavy lifting right here. Anything that he ultimately got behind and was able to kind of win, have a victory with, right? That manifested. That just flowed right up to Saturn in his ninth house. And I could be wrong, but I think he wanted to become like a professor or something and started teaching media as well. So I think he has a really interesting chart. The 11th house, again, tends to be, Aquarian, group oriented, and he has Uranus there. But it's actually in a trine right down here with Venus in the third house, which is communication. And he's got a pretty loaded third house too. He's got Neptune down there. He's got Ceres. I don't think Neptune in the third house is terrible. It's more psychic, more intuitive. And what's it doing over here? It's sextiling Mars, Moon, Jupiter. He's got good hunches. This guy has really, really, really good hunches. I think Chet's issue at a certain point was to be taken seriously with the Saturn-Neptune opposition. He's got his hard fortune in Aries, which again, Aries has a lot to do with like competition, boxing, right? Dealing with mostly men in men's sports, although never shied away from covering a women's event if they needed to, like Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs. And then he has the true node in Capricorn in the seventh house. So he partners with really powerful people. And I gave you two of them, Rune Arledge, Don Holmeyer, and then Dick Ebersol comes along. And Dick Ebersol becomes the new Chet Forte of sort of like post-90s sports media. And that's all it was for Dick Ebersol. Cancer rising. So I think he's sensitive, right? He's attuned to his environment. He knows which way the wind is blowing. And he's got Pluto here. So he's kind of indomitable. But if you're on the right side of his relationships with that Pluto Venus, and I think Venus in Virgo is tough. It's kind of exacting, kind of demanding. It's like he didn't just want people to go through the paces, right? He wanted them to really kind of earn their stripes in a lot of ways. But if you did, and he liked you, I think you were in. And if you were in with Chet Forte, you worked, and you got a lot of work. I think it's a really interesting chart, just in terms of who he was and what he brought to the table in terms of really changing sports. What's fascinating is he hardly has any air in his chart. Look at that. Hardly any air at all. So he's really kind of immersive and fiery. Not a lot of he's got more earth in there. Anyway, there you go. Your True Hemp Science star, a different kind of guy, different story, but there probably wouldn't be any Monday Night Football in Howard goes south if it wasn't for Chet Forte. Your True Hemp Science star for them. All right, that's it. 9/11, auspicious time. We're out of here. So, lay of the land tomorrow. We will have Cooper K. He'll be with us. Looking forward to that. And that's on Friday. And Sunday night, Sunday night Astro Live. We're creeping up here on the bridge event. I hope as many of you can attend as possible. I think it's going to be pretty mind-blowing. That's my take. Pretty mind blowing. Okay, I'll be posting on local soon, and I'll be sharing my schedule as I make my way towards the quite frankly Jamboree, which will be happening the first weekend in September. All right, take care of yourselves, treat each other well. God bless. Love you all. Bye for now. Phoenix.